Hello, everyone. This is Pastor Alan Hathaway. I'm glad you joined me today for this sermon that I wanted to share with you. This particular sermon continues my series on the glory of the Lord from Isaiah chapter 6. I'm kind of excited about today because this Sunday is National Flower Day. And nothing says spring like flowers, and we're all waiting for them to start poking their heads up through the ground and letting us know that spring has arrived. And so I'm kind of excited for this particular Sunday because it's National Flower Day. I thought about how important flowers were to us. And by the way, if you'd like to join us for service, our services today begin in Riverdale at the Riverdale Community Church at 8:30 this morning. Our service in Garrison begins at 10:30. On Resurrection or Easter Sunday, our services will be a little different. We're going to move the services back a little bit to 9 o'clock in Riverdale and to 11 o'clock in Garrison. So please keep that in mind as you're planning for your Easter Sunday. So those are going to be minor changes, but this Sunday it will still be at 8:30 and 10:30 for services. So we would love to have you come and be a part of either of these two services. I want to talk to you about flowers, and I brought some flowers today. Here's one that is one of my wife's favorites. She loves columbine, and wherever we have it, we have it in our yard. This one is lavender, and we like lavender. It's actually in the mint family. And then there is this one, which you are probably all familiar with because you have it on your muffins. These are poppy seeds, and they're really tiny, tiny little seeds. Flowers or flowering plants are part of a large group or a large, I'm not sure how you would describe it biologically, but they're a part of a large group called angiosperm. And angiosperm simply means a seed that is produced within a fruit. And that's what flowering plants do. They produce a fruit, and inside that fruit are the seeds of the plant. They are among the largest groups of plants in the world, and flowers actually fall into 8 different groupings. And of those groupings, there are over 300,000 different species within those groupings. And it's intriguing when you look at them. The other thing that surprised me as I looked at flowers is almost all flowers are edible. They don't always taste great, but they are in most cases edible. There are a few that are poisonous, and you need to know that before you start just going around eating flowers. And some of them will make you sick if you eat too many of them because they have certain things like saponoids, which are a kind of alkaloid that is found in soap, and it can make you quite ill and give you other problems as well. So you need to be aware of that when you eat flowers. And it's some within the same family groups differ in those things. So those are things that are important in the area of understanding flowers. Flowers are beautiful. They are a beautiful creation of God, and they have so much variety, so much color, and they are a blessing in our world. I think about how they bless us in so many ways. They bless us in the sense that they produce nectar, which bees turn into honey, and which gives us that blessing. They also produce pollen, which bees turn into wax and are used in the production of honey. They also produce fruit and seeds, and we are blessed by their fruits as well as all the animals. In fact, I had a crabapple tree, which is a member of these flowering plants, in my yard, and it had crab apples this this year, and the crab apples were still hanging on the tree until just a few days ago, when the birds finally polished all of them off and they're all gone. So it provided a blessing for not only humans, but for animals. And those are wonderful, wonderful things. One of the plants that has always intrigued me is one called the corpse flower. It's one of the largest flowers in the world. It is astounding in the sense that it can grow to over 10 feet in height, just the flower itself. It can go to almost 3 feet in diameter. So that is a huge flower. It gets its name because of its coloration and its temperature and its odor. It blooms only in the wild in Sumatra and very seldom there. It has been forced bloomed in various botanical gardens around the world, but it is not a flower that blooms easily, and nor does it bloom in any other place but Sumatra in the wild. And it blooms only in those particular moments when the conditions are just right for that to happen. Its odor is that of a rotting corpse or a rotting meat. The flower is a kind of a purplish color that mimics a corpse, and the colorings on it mimic a corpse. The other thing that is interesting about it is that it maintains during its blooming period a temperature of 98 degrees Fahrenheit, which is optimal to attract particularly carrion beetles and also to attract carrion flies. They are its primary pollinator. What's interesting about this flower is, unlike flowers which attract most other pollinators and provide them nectar or provide them things that they need and can use, basically this flower provides nothing to its pollinators. It simply fools them into coming and rummaging around inside it until they get covered in pollen and then move on to the next flower. And that's all that the corpse flower provides for its pollinating hosts. And so as a problem for us is that very often we tend to be very much like that corpse flower. We are not much of a blessing in the world that we live in. Isaiah came into a situation where God's call upon him asked him to live in a world where people were not going to be very helpful or good in their actions. God says to Isaiah, I have called you to live or dwell in among people that do not care very much about what's happening. Go tell this people, keep on hearing, but do not understand. Keep on seeing, but do not perceive. Make the heart of this people dull and their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their heart and return and be healed. It's a sad commentary on the nation of Judah at the time in which Isaiah was receiving this vision. It would be characteristic particularly of King Ahaz, who had grown up and was angry with God and angry with the world and showed it in the way he acted and behaved in life. And very often we're like that. He was a brilliant, intelligent man, but he was also a man who intentionally shut his ears to the message that God had for him. His son Hezekiah would be a different type of man than his father. He would accept the responsibility and shoulder it and listen, but his son Manasseh would be one of the evilest and wickedest kings in Judah's history. In fact, his evilness was so great that God basically said that he would not relent from sending Judah into captivity no matter how much they repented, because Manasseh had been such a wicked, evil man and had led the nation of Judah into tremendous wickedness. So those are things that we understand about people that intentionally close their ears, their hearts, their minds to the will of God. Jesus described the Pharisees and to some extent the Sadducees as these type of people. He would use the message to Isaiah here in Isaiah 6 to categorize these religious and secular people that were unwilling to hear the message, unwilling to listen, and were unconcerned about the purpose or the plan of God. That was a scathing indictment on them. For us, such attitudes, if we are religious, we may put forth a flower. We may show forth a flower, much like that corpse flower. It is a flower, but it stinks. And a lot of the times, spirituality without a real concern for God's will stinks. It just does. And there's no other way you can put it. For many of us, we are nothing more, in that case, than blooming idiots. Idiot does not mean somebody who is necessarily stupid. They are foolish, they are inept, and in this case, they would be inept spiritually. I hope you're not a blooming idiot spiritually. I hope you're willing to hear God's will and purpose for your life and be willing to allow Christ to change things in you. You have a great day. We'll see you maybe this Sunday, or if not, I hope I'll see you at least on Resurrection Sunday. God bless. Take care.